He thought he was saving his family from ruin. She thought she was crafting a legacy no one could undo. But what began as a legal arrangement, cold, calculated, and transactional, unfolded into a haunting tale that would ripple through one of the wealthiest families on the French Riviera. Welcome to Family Crime Chronicles, your ultimate destination for chilling true crime stories. We uncover the darkest corners of real-life mysteries, twisted affairs. Please like, comment, and subscribe now for a new episode of True Crime Stories. In the quiet seaside town of Ease, a 21-year-old man named Julian Corbett entered into a marriage with Evelyn Moreau, a billionaire widow more than 3 times his age. The world thought they understood what had happened, but what happened on their wedding night remained buried in whispers for years until the truth finally surfaced. This is not just a story of betrayal. It's a story of silence, of inheritance, of survival. Julian Corbett was just 21 years old, a political science student at the University of Lyon. Smart, quiet, diligent. He had dreams, ambitions, but none of them involved marriage. Certainly not to a 67-year-old billionaire widow. His family had once owned a modest vineyard outside of Lyon, Corbett Wines. Simple but respected. But when climate irregularities devastated 2 harvests back-to-back, and a fire consumed part of the estate's bottling facility, the family was left on the brink of bankruptcy. Julian's mother took out loans to save the business. His father, once proud and stoic, was now bedridden, recovering from a series of small strokes. Julian was weeks away from dropping out of university. Creditors were closing in. There were rumors their home would be repossessed. Then came the letter. Elegant, hand-delivered, wax-sealed. It was an invitation. A private meeting at the Grand Hotel du Cap Ferret with Madame Evelyn Moreau. She was Europe's phantom heiress, owner of a string of boutique hotels in Monaco, Geneva, Milan, widow of Vincent Moreau, the shipping magnate, rumored lover of a former prime minister, elegant, powerful, and by now very much alone. The meeting was brief, clinical. Her offer: she would settle the Corbett family's debts entirely, in exchange for one thing: Julian's hand in marriage. Not for love, not for companionship, for legacy. She explained it plainly. She needed a younger husband, someone to manage appearances, perhaps father and heir, a quiet, photogenic presence. The contract was thick, legally meticulous. Julian was stunned, speechless. He returned home with the offer. His father, hearing the amount Moreau was offering, whispered from his bed, "It's just a formality. She's old. She probably just wanted a name in the papers. She's buying a headline." His mother wept with both shame and hope. They were cornered. Within 2 weeks, Julian agreed. Julian arrived at Evelyn's estate in Ease the morning of the wedding, a sprawling neoclassical mansion perched above the Mediterranean. Staff swarmed him, handing him an Armani tuxedo, styling his hair, reminding him to smile for the press. The ceremony was held in the marble courtyard. 20 guests, all older, politicians, bankers, lawyers, no friends, no family, no music, just formality. Evelyn wore a silver gown, custom designed by a Milanese fashion house. She smiled only once, during the signing of the legal documents. That night, after the last of the guests left, Julian was led to her suite. It was massive, cold, decorated in grays and blues. Art Deco meets mausoleum. She was waiting in an ivory robe. She poured him scotch, walked in circles around him, whispered, "You're mine now." Julian didn't move. He didn't speak. It was a scene of performance, something surreal, detached from reality. And then Evelyn clutched her chest, her face contorted. She collapsed. Stroke. She was rushed to the hospital, slipped into a coma, and never woke up. For 2 months, Julian lived in the mansion, alone. Evelyn's staff operated with eerie efficiency. Meals were served, law firms called, papers were signed. Then came the will. Evelyn left Julian 12% of her estate. That included partial ownership of 5 hotels, several stock holdings, and an ancestral chateau in Provence. Her 3 adult children, Claudine, Matthew, and Leah, were livid. They accused Julian of manipulation, of seduction, of fraud. But legally, everything held, except for one clause. The contract included a line, subtle but damning. The marriage had to be consummated. If not, the inheritance would be voided. But no one knew what happened that night. The staff saw nothing. No cameras in the suite. Just Julian and Evelyn. And a sudden collapse. Julian refused to speak. And Evelyn took the answer to her grave. The media turned ravenous. Boy toy husband steals widow's fortune. Student marries into power, now controls hotels. Talk shows speculated daily. Julian's face, handsome, serious, blank, was splashed across every paper. Claudine, the eldest daughter, launched a legal battle. She sued to revoke the will. She claimed her mother was not of sound mind, that Julian coerced her, that the stroke was no coincidence. Julian vanished from the spotlight, moved into a modest villa outside Marseille, declined all interviews. His only comment came through his lawyer. The marriage was entered legally and honestly, but Claudine wasn't done. She hired private investigators, sold interviews, painted Julian as a predator, claimed he had a history of targeting older women, though no proof emerged. Julian remained silent until something unexpected happened. Julian's legal team, while reviewing Evelyn's estate documents, discovered a hidden folder. In it were financial ledgers, investment notes, and one document that changed everything. Evelyn had invested in Corbett Vineyards 5 years earlier, under a shell company, untraceable at first glance. And not only that, she had orchestrated the collapse of the business. Emails showed she demanded decisions that led to overexpansion, risky loans, and poor harvest management. She created the disaster. She wanted Julian. She wanted a desperate man, vulnerable, grateful, trapped. She had engineered the fall of his family so she could offer herself as a solution. Julian was her creation. He had not seduced her. She had hunted him. Julian refused to release the folder publicly. When asked why, he only said, "It wouldn't bring peace, only more damage." Years passed. Julian remained largely out of public view. Then, without warning, he appeared at a press conference outside the courthouse in Aix-en-Provence. He stood calmly. By his side, a 3-year-old girl with dark curls and a shy smile. He spoke only once. "This is Lena. She's my daughter. Not Evelyn's. She's mine with someone I chose." Then he left. The message was clear. A life beyond Evelyn. A future chosen, not assigned. And perhaps proof of something the world couldn't define. Shortly afterward, Claudine dropped her lawsuits. No explanation. No statement. The silence said everything. He never asked for power. He never fought for fortune. But he was left with both, and the burden of what it cost. Not all stories end in justice. Some simply survive. Some truths don't scream. Sometimes they whisper. Like, share, and subscribe if you believe truth doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers.